In this lesson, we're going to look at some features and use cases of the array module. According to the official documentation, this module defines an object type which can compactly represent an array of basic values such as characters, integers, and floating point numbers. So in other words, arrays behave pretty much like lists, but they are restricted to one type of objects. So here we can see an array of integers, int array. The type of the objects that this array contains is represented with a letter in front of it, so letter I, and if I'll print the type code, so what type of objects does this array contain, we can see letter I, which corresponds to the signed int. And this item size function will give us the length of one array item in bytes. Here we're talking about 32-bit size ints, which is 4 bytes. However, this might be confusing because in the official documentation on the array module, the minimum size in bytes is stated as 2. All right, and now let's look at some functions that can add additional items to the array. So the first one is insert. So as an argument, you pass the value of the element you want to insert into the array and the position. The next function is append, which will add data to the end of this array. And last but not least is the extend function, which basically allows us to add multiple values, and extend will take we'll take a list of values we want to extend our array with. And if we'll print int array, you'll see all of them in action. So you will see that the element it begins with is 0, then the fourth from the end is 42, and then you have 35, 36, and 37 added to the array with the help of the extend function. And on top of that, we could also iterate over this array. So let's create a simple loop. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to iterate over this array, and we're going to take each element and we'll do an operation with it. In particular, each element at index I is going to be multiplied by, let's say, 2. And if we'll print this modified array, you'll see that all elements were indeed multiplied by 2. Okay, but all elements in this array were integers, and we've even declared that in the type of the array. But what will happen if we'll try to insert an element of a different type into this int array? Python is not that strict, is it? Surely it can forgive us for doing that. Let's try. So I'll use this insert function on our int array, but this time I'll try to insert something of a type, let's say a type float. So 5.5, here we go. Let's run it. And we run into the type error. So Python wants the elements in our array to remain homogeneous. In other words, of the same kind, or the type in this case.